6.5. All right, I'm gonna do 6.4 next week. This is the easier section. It's super easy, and I'm just gonna go to the. I'm just gonna talk about the paradox, and also I will be dropping one of the quiz. Alrighty then. All right, so let's do apportionment. Uh, where's my calendar? God. Okay, good. So there are so many different type of apportionment, and and this is interesting because we use that, and we just had the 2020 census, and it basically carving things up, um, uh, and then carving things up in proportionally. Okay. So, what is apportionment? Apportionment. It's the process of dividing something into shares, into parts, shares that are proportional. So, if we talk about state or county assessors, things like that, so that's what we look for. Okay, so obviously, the things we have. So these are the word we need to look at: population. It's the total number of items that need to be represented. House size, in a way, think about it. Like, how's it represented? How many house size, like how many representative we have? So house size, the number of items that need to be divided. Divided. Okay, so we have 435 House of Representatives, right? So how do we divide this 435 amongst the total population what we have? So we have 50 states. So each state gets how many, and then we look at each state has what's the population, and then that's how we work it. So that's called standard divisor, which is population divided by house size. Now, some scenario it says that they give you a quota. That means a designated portion of the population. So we say that 40,000 will represent one county assessor. So if a city has 120,000 population, then it will have three assessors. Things like that. That's what quota means. Is so mathematically designated portion of the population divided by standard divisor. And sometimes what you're gonna have situation um you're gonna have some leftover surplus, and we're gonna look at an exam problem for that. But let's look at let me give you the definitions of Hamilton method. By the way, you guys know that Hamilton is the like crazy theater show that's like super booked. Nobody could get it. It's from him. So it's another word for it is method of largest fraction. Determine the quota for each state. State by dividing the state's population. Actually, it would have been better if I would have typed it. The state's population by the standard divisor. And we keep the two decimal. Keep the two decimal space. Drop the fractional part of the quota, assign each state of the seats shown the whole number. This is referred to the automatic seats. And then we have the surplus one, and the surplus one goes to the people with the highest decimal points. Drop the fractional part of the quota. And each state gets the whole number seats. Three, and then once you have surplus, with the surplus seats, the way it goes is states with the highest decimal gets the surplus seats, and then the next state with the next highest decimal points. So this is the we could call it the coda rule. And that's what mostly we use to come up with what state gets what. Now we have certain potential problems. I'm gonna write down the problems, and then we're gonna do a couple of the example problems. So the Alabama paradox. Hold on, guys. Give me a minute while I'm gonna explain the Alabama paradox. All right, the problem with Alabama paradox and when adding some seats, adding some seats could cause certain state to lose some seats. So think about this. So you have you're one of the state like Alabama, and let's say you have 4 seats, right? And you added another state, and then you therefore you added some seats to it. So you think that by adding seat to the representative, Alabama or certain states will be safe. No, what it will happen is it changes the whole quota system and everything, and it caused some state to lose seats. It's called Alabama paradox. The other paradox you have and this is the interesting one, and that's one what we saw with the latest 2020 census. California added 2 million population compared to last 10 years. So California is almost 39, almost 40 million. Yet they are going to lose they're going to lose one seat. So that's the population paradox. Like, increase of population can cause loss of seats. So it's not guaranteed. And then the other one is, it's similar to Alabama paradox, which we call it new state paradox. Same as Alabama paradox. Adding new state can cause some state to lose seat. So, good example of it, if you have seen that Washington, D.C., that city has no representation in the Senate or in the House, nothing, yet their population is over 700,000. Let me verify that. Yeah, so they have over 700,000, yet Wyoming, it has less than 600,000 population. They get 2 senators and 1 House of Representatives. So that's unfair. And somehow Wyoming has bigger bargaining chips when dealing with the nation than small cities with more population. So how does that happen? Like, California has 40 million population represented by 2 senators, yet Wyoming has 2 senators too. They represent almost the same. Even though California brings a lot more revenue with everything. So some people think it's not fair. All right, so now let's do some problem. And the problem, what we're going to do is we're going to use the Hamilton method to do the problem. All right, so let's look at, so we're going to look at a country with 3 states. So instead of 50 states, we look at 3 states, has 40 seats. So let's look at the 3 states. Let's call the 3 states California, Nevada, and then Oregon. What's Oregon? OR? That's what Oregon is? Okay. So Oregon, California has 2,400 population. Nevada has 1,950, and Oregon has 1,475. So we need to use the Hamilton method to figure out who gets how many seats. What state gets how many seats? All right, that's what we want to look at. Given that 40. So let's look at it. Let's add all the population. If I add all the numbers, I get 5825. And let's find the standard divisor. 5825 divided by 40, we get 145,625. Okay, so per 145 population, we will get 1 House of Representatives, right? So now we're gonna take that number divided by 145.625. 145.625. 145.625. I'll wait for you guys to get that number. All right, let's look at the number. So when we divide that, and we just look at the whole number. So we're going to use these number. So California right away gets 16, Nevada gets 13, Oregon gets 10. Now, we have surpluses, right? If I add all the numbers, what do I get? 10, 9, 30, 39. So I have 1 seat extra. So who gets that extra seat? So if I look at all the numbers, which one has the highest decimal one? This right over here. So therefore, California adds 1 extra seat. 1 extra seat. And California ends up getting +1, which is 17, 13, and 10. So that's what happens is your standard divisor changes with the standard divisor. Then you got to look at your decimal numbers, and that's how it works. This is a really tricky one. Okay. Okay. All right. This is only this section. All right, so that's it. So if you have any question, ask me right now. I'm on live.